So to bring you all in, it's been a while. Hello, but we're gonna get right in. To bring you all in, I cannot tell what's happening because this is the first time that we have seen each other. I mean, not even in person, but visually in a while. Right? It's been some time. It's good to see each other. I see Steve nightly, but this is the first time we have seen all three of us together. And BK says to Serda, wow, that hair is looking good. And for those of you who are riding around in your cars or running and listening,
everybody knows it.
Steve's got a real long, he's really let it go. It's long and it's flowing. And we're starting to develop some hang time, but not like Bobby Witt, mullet hang time. It's coming on down. I'm trying to think. I don't know why it reminds me of the character off Wings, Tim, who really had the long flowing hair. I mean, it's coming. It's everywhere. And now here's the kicker for me. Steve has fabulous hair. He does. Yeah. Now it is. I don't know. It's in a stage right now where he could maybe clean it up. I don't know. Maybe it's rugged and kind of wild on purpose, but that's not to me where it is, Steve.
I did get it cleaned up. I don't know. It's probably been 5 or 6 weeks now, so I could use maybe a trim.
But I don't think that's where the story is. See, the other part is that I haven't mentioned. Now, Serda was never going to because he's about Steve. Is BK has also come to the table, and it looks like he is really, really taking care of his hair as well. We've got a real combed down situation. It looks like BK has really, he didn't just jump on the pot. Looks like BK went into the mirror, put a little product in. If you can't see it, I mean, this is a good look for him. This is a good look. And I feel sort of that he lobbed out the wow, your hair looks great comment in thinking that we would also respond, specifically you would also respond to him with shit, man. Hell, not just me. Look at your hair. Look at you, man. You got the comb. You got the full beard working with it. And Steve gave him none of it. Steve just said, I look great. You're right. Because that right there, BK, that's not a just, oh, shoot, it's time to do the pod. Let me get there.
That's not fair. Brandon always knows that he has good-looking hair.
That's what I'm saying.
He always knows it's clean, it's well kept, and that's what we would expect. The only reason I would think anything different is if he showed up with his hair looking like mine, and then I might say something about it.
Let the record show that's the first time Serda's ever spoken about how good BK's hair is. Let the record show. Now, none of us ever knew you felt that way about his hair. Right? No, that's the first time.
That's not true. I complimented it at some point.
Never.
I'm sure I complimented it at some point. That's amazing.
Didn't believe it. Okay. Didn't believe it. Didn't believe
it. Not a big hair complimenter.
No, we know. But
you're in general. Honestly, compliments make me feel uncomfortable.
No, bullshit. You accept them pretty well. You might not be a giver, but you're sure an acceptor.
It's his love language. He appreciates somebody telling him that he has good hair. And by the way, it's true. I didn't do what Ron's suggesting right now. That would be amazing if I did.
I want you to know your hair looks great, BK. I think it does. I think you put more. Honest to God, you put more effort in it than Steve did today.
I had a lot of yard work today.
That's what I think makes Serda's hair work, though. Serda has a very specific look that he is clearly going for. He has achieved said look. It's part Midwest granola meets beach kind of theme. It's wonderful. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and Steve.
Brandon, there looks very well kept.
Call him Brandon.
The beard looks tremendous. It does look fuller since the last time we spoke. So I feel like the summer is a strange time to really grow it out and add some life to it, but it looks really good.
He said,
So
timing
what
could be a
you're
little better, but
so what you're telling us, Steve, what you've been actually sitting there thinking, why has he got this full ass beard in July right now? I know it gets
So-
hot in St. Louis.
if you want to know the honest to God answer,
Oh, that's
so
good.
we're doing some new stuff at the
Oh,
station.
man.
I've got this new it's a Cardinals podcaster on it. When I was growing up, my first thought was, God, you know what I want to do? I want to do a Cardinals centric podcast.
You've got a little Adam Wainwright look going to you right now. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie to you, but go ahead.
So we've got this. It's actually a really badass setup that we've got in it's a brand new studio that they built for us. It's our podcast studio.
I think I've
And
seen the video.
I've
I've seen
seen
photos
it
of it. Yeah.
It looks amazing. However, the cameras are very clear, like very clear. And so when you go in, you've got like a half-assed beard going. It looks like a half-assed beard. And so I decided I'd make the conscious decision of, all right, we're going to go ahead and see what this looks like on camera if we grow it out a little bit more. So that's the honest to God reason as to why. And it's also why I decided to grow out the hair a little bit. But before this show, I literally just got out of the shower. So that's why it looks pristine at the moment.
Yeah. Well, well, clearly my hair looks like shit today. But no, can you guys tell me if I'm missing something and the people are missing something? I am really floored by how the talk is surrounding the Chiefs. Like so much so that I don't know if you all have had those times and those moments. You're like, maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe I'm tripping. Like if I'm hearing it enough, maybe I'm wrong. Like to the thought that this is a step back year. I think the Chiefs are going to take a step back here. And I find that, okay, all right. Like maybe they mean just record wise. Maybe it's like maybe they won't win, 15 of the 16 games that they actually tried to win and they played it. Maybe that's it. But then I see the Super Bowl odds and they're fourth. I don't give a rip who's in front of them. They're fourth. Okay, I'll give you the Eagles. What is going on? And then this is the year the Broncos and the Chargers. This is my favorite. This is the year the Broncos and the Chargers. Hell, Najee Harris is getting hurt on 4th of July from fireworks. Look, get out. I mean, what's going on here? We're doing this again, but it's now the Chargers. They're third in the AFC in terms of Vegas odds behind the Bills and the Ravens. I don't know if they're trying to push money towards things. I don't know. I completely see this differently, right? Like, I think this has the potential to be one of the best teams the Chiefs have had. I mean, obviously there are some questions. I'm not going to sit here and say there aren't any questions or some things that I'm sure we need to look at. But this team won 15 games with that skill group last year. This team won 15 games with, well, clearly Travis Kelce was dragging, a small child around with him that he's lost. There's no Rashee Rice. He's back, I think. There was no Hollywood Brown for most parts of the season. Their offensive line, I love Joe Thuney, but overall it feels like they're better. They at least have guys playing in the right positions. Their defense, Justin Reed, I love, but that's really the only major loss. They seem to shore up the cornerback position, which had them change their entire defense from where they. I am blown away that a team that is and has been as good as the Kansas City Chiefs have, who have been the dominant team of this time, get embarrassed, and all they've talked about since the game ended is how embarrassing it was and how embarrassing they were. And they played with a short hand, and their hand is back. And people are thinking that the Bills and the Ravens should be ahead of them. that the Chargers and Bo Nix are coming for them. They're taking a step back. That is, again, I could be wrong. I don't think I have ever been a homer in my at least in the last 10, 15 years of my life. I've never been a homer like this. I can be honest with you. Like, Kansas is a 4 seed. Okay, that's what it feels like right now. I can be honest with you. All right, I am blown away that people aren't looking at the Chiefs like, whoa, Lord, what are they going to look like this year? I'm just surprised by it.
So I think what is most confusing to me, Ron, and you nailed it, it's the AFC side of things. Like, set aside the Super Bowl odds, just the AFC odds. Like,
I can't say nothing about the Eagles. All right, they got to prove it out to the Eagles. I can't say nothing about the Eagles. They beat the dog hell out of them.
They've got the best weapons in the NFL, and they might have the best defense in the NFL. Like, what are you going to say, right? They're an excellent football team. They proved it on the field, and just like we used to say for the Chiefs, you're the best until proven otherwise. So I will give them their crown. They have earned that, right? But on the AFC side of things, like, what did the Ravens and the Bills do to earn the right to be favored over the Chiefs right now? That's not to suggest they're bad football teams. They're not. They're both very good. But like, this offseason, the Baltimore Ravens on offense made one notable addition, and it was DeAndre Hopkins, who couldn't get snaps for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs decided we need to upgrade that spot. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think their defense is going to be great this year, but their defense is always great. The questions once you get to January are, can they score enough points? Can Lamar in that offense get the job done? And far too often, the answer has been no. And on the Buffalo side of things, like, they added Joey Bosa and Joshua Palmer, and that's kind of it. Like, they didn't do a lot this offseason. So to have either of those two teams jump ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs just feels strange to me, when the Chiefs made, arguably, I would say, bigger offseason additions, and then you throw in the return of Rashee Rice. It's really odd. I don't understand it. Maybe the Patriots were built the exact same way in the mid 2000s, and I'm just forgetting it, but it does feel a bit disrespectful to me.
I think it's just weird, sort of like, it almost feels like as if they did win it. It almost feels like they won it again, and they're complacent, and maybe they're like, all right, no, they had to be hungry. Like, this is the first time sort of in a while where they are the team that is hunting. They are the team that's embarrassed. They're the team. They don't have to find ways to find it this year. They got it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really feels all that much different than like previous off seasons, where it feels like we're kind of doing this every year, where we're like, okay, well, these people aren't watching Chiefs games. Like, these people aren't watching. Like, these people are saying Mahomes, Kelsey, Jones, and they got like no Chiefs after that, and they don't know what the makeup of the team is, and they don't know who the cornerstones and the building blocks of this roster really are. This year's a little bit different, I guess, because it's coming off of a down year statistically for Patrick Mahomes that ended in a Super Bowl loss, where you got dominated by a team that was just flat out better than you. But it's also like, some of this is just, we're tired of picking the Chiefs. And I do think the Patriots caught some of this stuff, where now this offseason, I will say it seems ramped up that now everybody's getting in on the, Josh Allen's better than Patrick Mahomes thing. But then there was a lot of people trying to say Joe Burrow was better than Patrick Mahomes, like, in recent years. And we all knew it wasn't true. So, like, there's just a lot of that. And then, like, Seth Walder for ESPN, like, released his grades for every team's offseason. And I think he had the Chiefs, like, were like his 4th lowest graded team or something like that for their offseason moves. And it was like largely built on like letting go of Joe Tooney, not getting the long-term deal done with Trey Smith yet. And then also like not having an answer at left tackle, but being like, yeah, I know they signed Jalen Moore and drafted Josh Simmons, but what if they suck and their tackle situation's still terrible? It's like, well, what did you want them to do, Seth? Like, they addressed it. They did everything that was within their resources to try to fix that problem. And I don't care if you liked what they did during the offseason. But they did absolutely everything that I could have wanted them to do during this offseason to try to be a better, more complete team in 2025.
I'm sorry. It feels wilder to me a little bit. Like I think you put it good there, Steve. I think there has been a past of fatigue of picking the Chiefs. I don't think that's what this is. I think there is belief that the Chiefs are going to take a step back, not because they're hoping and their fingers are crossed or they want to. I think people actually do believe it, and I'm not seeing how they're arriving there.
And I think I can make the case for you, Ron. I think this is what's happening. This is my guess, at least. My guess is people watched the Chiefs all year during the regular season, and they thought to themselves, this offense stinks. They can't score enough points. They're going to get exposed in the playoffs. This team is just not good enough. It's finally caught up to them, right? They don't have the weapons. The offensive line is bad, especially once they lacked a left tackle. Tooney had to bump out, and they're like, okay, this is the year that they're going to get got in the playoffs. And it didn't happen in the AFC side of the playoffs. But once they got to the Super Bowl, the game that everybody and their mother watched, they got exposed. And they looked horrible. The worst football game the Chiefs have played in years.
And maybe the best game the Eagles had played all season.
100%. And when that happens on that stage, I think a lot of people said, aha, that's the team that I saw all season long. Finally, somebody was able to expose them for the frauds that they were, and they were fortunate to even get to that place. I think where that falls flat for me is that would suggest that we're going to see the same team in 2025, and yes. I don't believe that that is the case. Rashee Rice tangibly changes the look of the offense. Hollywood Brown, healthy, should change the look of the offense. We'll see with Josh Simmons, but the hype is hard to ignore at this point. And if he's as good as some of the hype suggests, that will significantly change the look of the offense. And when you have all of that coming together, man, you have Patrick Mahomes, healthy weapons, a decent offensive line, and a top 10 defense. That's a Super Bowl contender, and it should be the favorite to come out of the AFC. And to me, that's what they look like going into this season. They look like a very different football team than they were a year ago.
Yes, and they have the added thing, which is hard sometimes to find, is there is not a team potentially more motivated than them. That's something they've had to find. They've had to try to find is motivation. They have the motivation that Buffalo and Baltimore have, that they usually haven't had. They have that. And I mean, again, as Serda went through it, like we talked about their offseason, Baltimore's a really good football team, and they can beat the Chiefs. The Buffalo Bills are a really good football team. They can beat the Chiefs. I just don't know how you can arrive with Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy all a year older, especially for Worthy and Rice. I'm not even talking about what Travis Kelce has kind of reinvigorated himself with, or not to talk about, maybe a healthy Isaiah Pacheco and, and what they've done in the backfield. Not to mention they've got tackles that are going to play tackles, and they retain Trey Smith.
What you just said. It's such a crazy thing, but it's true. They made it to the Super Bowl with a guard playing tackle.
Yeah.
And without Rashee Rice, and with a hobbled Hollywood Brown, and with Isaiah Pacheco running on one leg. That team made it to the bleeping Super Bowl.
And you may feel like the D line may have some improvements, especially rushing the passer, right? Like the cornerback situation is much better. I mean, there are three corners that they got a chance to run out there, right? They got guys that had
corner
to play.
Is playing slot corner now.
Yes,
that's really nice.
They had guys that are playing significant minutes last year are going to have to fight like hell to make this team. Right, like it's just okay. Like it's weird. I mean, a Minihue for a full year. Like it's just I am just again. They could win. Those teams could win and are good football teams. I just don't. I for the life of me can't understand how the thought is that they're ahead of. Speaking of one of them. We said they got tackles playing tackles. July 15th is coming up. Hell, it's the 10th. July 15th. That's 5 days away. Like, if we're going to see something with this Trey Smith situation, right? Are they just going to sit here and pay Trey Smith a cool, even, what is it, 24 million, whatever it is that 23 million? Like, he's going to get a contract, right? They're not about to put themselves in a position to pay a franchise tag. They got 5 days, Jack. 4.
I think they're going to get it done. That's been my stated belief all along. They typically take this stuff up right up until the deadline, right? When they have somebody that's on the franchise tag, generally speaking, they will go up until the week of, and then that's when they'll get some kind of a deal done. But man, I'm not as confident as I was at the beginning of the offseason because, like, what is the weight with this one? Like, I guess once you don't get it done before free agency, there's really no rush because at this point, what is it going to do for you? I mean, the cap space doesn't really open things up for you to go make a move. That's not out there. There's nothing that you're like hindered from doing right now that you'll be able to do once Trey Smith is signed. But man, it just feels kind of odd that he hasn't gotten this deal done because he seems motivated to get it done. He certainly seems to want to be here. The Chiefs obviously like him. They picked him over Joe Thuney.
Yeah, they franchise tagged him.
Why isn't it done? It is odd to me.
Well, I don't. Well, it just doesn't make any sense, right? Like clearly, as you said, they chose him. So I don't believe they chose him just to go 1 year. I believe they chose him and said, all right, you're the 25-year-old, you're the top guy, free agent at your position. We're gonna keep you long term. You and Creed Humphrey are going to be, and then hopefully Simmons on the outside are going to be our guys the rest of the way. Hopefully Kingsley as well is in this that we drafted. And so the thought is he is going to be a long-term answer somewhere. And obviously it makes sense and it frees you up with so many other things. If you get him to a long-term deal and you're not just having to pay the flat 23, 24, whatever million it is, where that doesn't move on the salary cap, right? Like I've said this forever, the salary cap's not real. Like you can find ways and teams find ways to manipulate it. But that becomes harder when you just got franchise tags that are $24 million that ain't moving. You can't do nothing with that. So I gotta believe that Andy and Brett Veach and company are going to do something soon.
The thing that's weird about all of this, and Serda, I'm curious your thoughts, is like the deal seems pretty simple to get done. And what I mean by that is like if you look at the guard market, I mean, it's all laid out for you. He's going to probably get either 4 or 5 years. He's going to get somewhere in the like $22-ish million range for an AAV. And he's probably going to get roughly $50 million guaranteed. Because right now, the next highest paid guard is at $21 million per year. And if you look at guaranteed at signing, Chris Lindstrom is the top guy at $48 million. It's like all of this stuff is easy for us to see on the outside. It's easy for the Chiefs to see. It's easy for the Trey Smith camp to see. It's all right there. And like 5 years, $110 million, $50 million guaranteed at signing. I would be pretty surprised if this gets announced next week. I bet you the parameters are basically that. So why is it taking so long? It's really strange.
Yeah, I really don't know at this point because it seems like it was easy. And like Brett Veach and Trey Smith like made it seem like, oh, we'll have this thing taken care of. And maybe it is just like taking it down to the deadline. And I don't think this is like we need to sign him to an extension to free up money kind of thing. Like the guys that are available right now are available because they don't want to sign before training camps. Like they would have signed somewhere else if they were interested in going through off-season programs and things like that. These are veteran players that want to wait until training camp is underway and like skip all of that stuff and like train on their own and not deal with this stuff. So I don't think this is like an immediate money thing either. But it's just like you made the decision to trade Joe Tooney, and in doing so, you knew you were going to have to make Trey Smith the highest paid guard in football. Like, it seems like a pretty easy thing to calculate and to figure out how to make that happen. I am going to be annoyed if we hit this Tuesday deadline and they don't get it done. Just because they made it seem like it was such a foregone conclusion that they were going to get it taken care of, and it wouldn't be something that was hanging over the season of 2025, because Trey Smith is a good player. I think we could still see an even better version of Trey Smith. Like, maybe we haven't totally seen his ceiling. I think this is the going rate for elite level guards because offensive linemen are so valuable in the modern NFL. But I want this team to turn their attention to Trent McDuffie. Like, I don't want to be dealing with Trey Smith next offseason and trying to figure that out.
I wonder who is the one that's – because as you guys have both laid out, the parameters of this seem clear. Who is the one that's pushing the parameters? Like, is it the Chiefs trying to kind of come in and low and say, man, we don't want to give you and Creed Humphrey both – 50 guaranteed or whatever, or is
their history? Like, let's be honest, that's been their history. Yeah. Other than Mahomes and Chris Jones, ultimately when he was going to get to the market and sign with the Raiders potentially, like every other contract that they've done like this, the player has typically taken a little less than what the market would have dictated had they hit it. So it is possible they're saying to Trey, like, hey, if you want to be here, here's what we're willing to offer. And he's like, yeah, but I have all of the leverage here. Like, if you re-sign me, I'll get $26 million on a franchise tag next year. You're not going to do this 2 years in a row. It's 2 years, $50 million at that point, which is fully guaranteed. Like, you guys either have to sign me long-term on my terms, or you don't re-sign me long-term, and I can take that money elsewhere.
And that's the other thought. Is it him pushing like, nah, man, I'm going to get the deal. I'm in the driver's seat, Jack. I don't want this to be just $22 million. I want it to be what I'm making right now.
Sure, maybe he's looking at the tackle market and saying, like, I'm going to reset the guard market completely.
I don't know who it is, but like you would think is if it's so set in, who is the one trying to get away from whatever the very clear parameter is right there.
The crazy part, though, man, like there's only 4 tackles making more than $23 million a year. I mean, he's going to get tackle money if he ends up signing this $22 million. That's Jake Matthews, Garrett Bowles, Jordan Mailata. Like, that's their contract status right now. He's going to get paid one way or another. Can I give you a theory real quick, Ron?
Yeah.
On like, if this doesn't happen, if they end up, and I would still bet on yes today, but if it doesn't happen, my theory would be they saw so much that they liked out of Josh Simmons in minicamp, and they think Kingsley is going to be a really good guard. And so they view it as, all right, we've got Simmons in place at left tackle, Kingsley in place at left guard, Creed in place at center. We will go a little cheaper at right guard next year, whether that be Jalen Moore, Wanye Morris, drafting somebody else, going to the market and just signing a $10 to $15 million replacement. And we like the look of that offensive line. We can't do that now because we don't have that guy on the market currently, and we didn't have answers at the start of free agency on what Josh Simmons was going to be or whether we would even have Josh Simmons. So now that we have him in place, we had the fail-safe of Trey Smith is here. He's locked in on a 1-year deal. Let's just have that. We'll get the comp pick for him next year, and we'll all go our separate ways. If they don't re-sign him to a long-term extension, that's my guess, is that something changed after they tagged him as to why they didn't lock him in long-term.
Oh, yeah. If they don't sign him by the 15th, all bets are off. Like, anything can happen if they don't sign him by then.
I don't think
he's gone.
I don't think he's getting tagged a second time if they don't sign a long-term deal with him.
Yeah, I think if he does not sign within the next 5 days at the time of this recording, this will be the final season that Trey Smith is with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it'd be weird to think they find a way to pull a long-term deal outside of it. So, yeah, I hope that's not the case. I think – like to me, I think one thing is very clear is they need to make sure they shore that up, especially with the amount of weight that Patrick Mahomes is clearly gaining here. It's apparently
that was a good transition.
Apparently he's fat and he's going to Taco Bell and he's my favorite, going to that fried chicken place, in the Lenexa that they say he likes. Good Lord, man. Just his middle name's gotta be Kyle, right? Like that's got to be his middle name. Right? No, I'm talking about old Kev. His middle name it's got to be. There's got to be
where you were going either.
There's got to be a third. There's got to be a third.
Okay, now I got you. I thought you were talking about Patrick. I was like, it's pretty well known as Levon, right?
You mentioned chicken place on the next set. I was like, I don't know where we're going right now.
Oh, you didn't know that old Double K said that? You didn't know that?
No.
You didn't know what he said? Oh, yeah. We could. He's fat. He's fat. At some point, man, do a sit up, something. We gotta stop something here. We gotta do something more than just going through the drive-thru. I mean, what is it with this guy? I mean, no, those 3 Super Bowls weren't enough. What is it with this guy? That guy. I mean, at some point, man, he can't just go and play the games. You got to hang it up. You got to stop going through the Taco Bell drive-thru. You got to stop.
He didn't play all of the games last year.
I'm more impressed or disappointed that Ron memorized the rant.
Couldn't help it. And then the dismount of, he's got to stop DoorDash and fried chicken. We know he loves that place. I mean, he's really out there. If he clearly went with fried chicken, when he went Fuzzy Zeller, that fried chicken, and we know he likes it. He tried to cover it up. He likes that place. And I just picture him, he pointed when he did it. And he likes that place in Lenexa there. We know he likes that fried chicken place.
Doesn't Mahomes live in like Clay County? I don't think he's driving to Lenexa for
in my mind. Oh, he lived on State Line, so maybe he did like it.
He sold that. He sold that house a couple years ago.
I mean, what is it, Gus's? What can we figure out? What is the chicken place in Lenexa?
I don't know.
I'll find it.
I don't go that far west into Kansas anymore.
Strips chicken?
I stay in Casey Mo.
Strips
chicken?
Yeah, let me. What do we talk?
Yeah, I mean, strips is just like
You're right. It might be strips.
But there used to be a Strips in Waldo. It's just like a Cane's or something. Like it's not that good.
Maybe it's
fast chicken. It's just fast food chicken.
Maybe it's Red Door Grill. They got one out there too, but he can go all over the place.
That's a place Kevin Keats.
Or is it Jefferson's Chicken?
Red Door Grill, great fried chicken. You can only get it on Thursdays, but there's one in Brookside. There's multiple Red Door Grills.
Yeah, there's one in Lee Summit. There's a Ronnie's restaurant that serves fried chicken in Lenexa.
Come to Show and BK for all of your Lenexa chicken needs.
Well, I'm just saying, I feel like KK should have specified which one he was talking about. I just didn't know. Nah, dude is. You let yourself get worked up on this, didn't you? You did, didn't you, BK?
I did for 2 reasons. One, because of the absurdity of it all. Because, Kevin Keatsman has been doing this for too long to not know what a quarterback looks like. And what I mean by that, Ron, you've been in the locker room before. Quarterbacks are huge individuals. They do not look like I am built different than an NFL quarterback. They are massive. And you see this whenever we go through the draft process where people are like, little too skinny, little too slight, not going to be able to hold up to the rigors of an NFL season. So it is viewed as a negative if you are thin. And remember Will Levis? Little too strong. Cares a little too much about weightlifting to be a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Being a good quarterback is about mobility and flexibility and being able to escape, the escapability. Mahomes has all of these things. This is what he's most known for. And so the workouts that he is doing, A, are to keep him in good shape, which doesn't necessarily mean having some sculpted 6-pack. And B, They're to make sure that he is able to be at his peak performance at the things that a quarterback needs to do, not the stuff that a wide receiver would need to do, which is running in a straight line. So I just, that part bothered me because it's just intellectually dishonest, and he's going out here saying stuff he knows doesn't matter. And B, the way that it was picked up nationally really bothered me.
He's not a Kansas City radio host.
Why
No.
do we care? Why do I need to care in 2025? I barely cared in 2005 what Kevin Keatman had to say.
It's because Bobby Stroup went after him. That's why. That's why he got picked up.
And clearly, Pat was okay with that, because Pat could have clearly said, "Hey, Bobby,
He deleted it.
Hey, Bobby, let's chill." Nah, Bobby fired off multiple shots. All right, Bobby was letting it ride, and I'm sure Pat was fine with it. Also, I forgot to left out the part where he said, "Hey, it's fat." I mean, if he came to the pool with me and my friends, he'd be fat there too. And we're 60-year-old guys. Yeah, we're a little bit more flabbier than him, but he's got a fat stomach. He's fat. Come on. He makes $500 million. He's gotten $500 million. What is it with this guy? Listen, you just brought logic for no damn reason to the thing.
I can't help it.
And you know he is busted through the seams because this is exactly what he wanted to get to. And now the top two.
It's all about attention.
And it's crazy. The thing that pisses me off about it is because, of course, like Kevin knows, what are you talking about? You think that's what stopped Steve DeBerg all those years at first for not winning a championship? You think that's what stopped Steve Bono from not winning a championship all those years? You think if Elvis Gerbeck toned up a bit, maybe they would have scored 10 points against the Broncos in '97? Oh, come on, man. He's a fool. He's won 3 times. At what point have you ever said, damn, man? Like, I've watched Luka. There have been multiple times I've watched Luka, and I've said, damn, man. Ooh, boy, he is whipped. It's the third. He's got nothing on the defensive end. And I don't know if it's just that he can't move. He is whipped. When have you ever watched Patrick Mahomes and said, damn, man, I don't think he's going to make it through this 2-minute drill. I don't think he's going to make it through this. You remember when Donovan McNabb was spitting up? We're in Philly where they saying he needed exercise. Get out of here, Kevin. We know what you're doing. When your dismount was the fried chicken place in Lenexa, we knew what your silly ass was about. The part that frustrates me is now people think about Kansas City because we got to get bigger. Now that people think about Kansas City, it's that damn, thank God Nick Wright is rolling through, but it's Jason damn Whitlock. And to be honest with you, this idiot is on the Mount Rushmore of sports. I wouldn't even just say radio. As hard as it is to admit, if you think sports personalities, Mount Rushmore, before we weed his punk ass out, Kevin, as my friend Lawrence Holmes, I love it in Chicago, Kevin Keitzman is what he kept calling him because that's what he thought it was. And I told him I didn't have the heart to text you or call you to tell you it's Keitzman because I like you to keep saying Keitzman. so him and Matt Spiegel kept calling him Kevin Keitzman. But Kevin Keitzman would be on the Mount Rushmore. And that's the thing that pisses me off is him and Jason Whitlock, those two dudes that have the same mantra are the two top dudes arguably in Kansas City sports history.
And what's so frustrating is that
along with that lady who rolled down the hill, who was it that fell and her gold shoe flew up in the air?
Karen Kornacki.
Yes, Karen Kornacki. When she rolled down that hill,
she didn't let it ruin her media availability. She
gave
pull her up to the tent in a golf cart.
They gave her a golf cart. All I know is I was walking behind her. If that long hill in St. Joe to walk down to the press area after the practice is over, she caught a bad step and she went rolling, rolling, and she went rolling down, and she had on a gold shoe, and that gold shoe went flying. And I ran to a tree to get behind the tree so I would not be seen doing what I am doing and what you're doing right now, BK. That gold, I could close my eyes and see that gold shoe flying. And then, as Serda said, I swear before God, as I'm listening, you might not be able to see me, but she was in the back of the media area with her foot up on that golf cart, yelling, Andy, Andy. I'm sorry, Karen. She's also on there, I think. But
playing her.
I think Karen hung it up now. So
yeah, she did after that when she hung it up.
The crazy thing is, there's been so many good ones, dude, like Sam Mellinger, Kent Babb, Joe Poznansky, Jeff Passan. Like, you look back over the years at the people that are either from Kansas City or spent time working in Kansas City and covering teams in Kansas City. There are some badass journalists, analysts, whatever, that are either from or spent time in the area. And unfortunately, those are not the people that we're known for. This is what we're known for.
Oh boy. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. Listen, this, you're right. It should have never been picked up. This should have never been talked about at such a high level, hell, locally, but definitely nationally. I mean, any, and I understand it's a slow period, but anybody you could think of, we've been talking about this across the country because it's Patrick Mahomes, and they caught a shot of him, in whatever, and now Kevin Keitzman went ahead and rolled out and really brought it with his take. Listen, I don't have any issues with Mahomes and his weight. I do buy this though. And I don't know if you all have arrived here. I do buy that Mahomes is losing his grip on that number one spot in the number one quarterback spot. I'm not ready to give it up yet, but I am at a place where, all right, hey man, they're fixing the offensive line and giving you the offensive line in the space where what we have seen before is, man, he ain't got to have the Eagles O-line. Like, they just need to be, average to a little bit above average, and he can go nuts. But like, your weapons are there. Like, there's a motivation. You should be, barring he doesn't go through all, an injury situation like he has before, and a drop situation, and just a situation where the offense just never came together. If he has another one of these years where he doesn't look like the Patrick Mahomes, and I mean, for mostly week in and week out. I'm not talking about like, hey man, coming up and just being great the last 7 minutes of the game. If he did, which I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with that, but if he doesn't look like the Patrick Mahomes, the MVP, level player, I can hear the conversation of maybe he's losing or could lose that grip on the number one spot. I am there now.
I think there are 4 truly elite quarterbacks currently in the NFL. I think it is Mahomes. I think it is Josh Allen. I think it is Joe Burrow. And I think it is Lamar Jackson. Not necessarily in that order, but I think those are the 4 elite level quarterbacks currently in the NFL. And I think you can, even within those 4 elite quarterbacks, separate them into 2 categories currently. I think it is Mahomes and Josh Allen. And then I think it is in a separate category, in the second tier of that elite group, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. If you want to make the case today that you believe Josh Allen is the better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, I would debate you on it, because if you want to win a Super Bowl, I would rather have Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback. I think he has shown an ability to elevate his game when the games are more important once we get to January. But it is hard for me to do so with any numerical data behind me. because for about 3 years now, Josh Allen has been the better statistical quarterback, and there is no way for me to argue otherwise. So I think it is really close currently. And if we see another year of that, and this year I don't have the same like counter examples of, yeah, but look at the left tackle situation. Yeah, but look at the wide receivers that he's dealing with. This year, barring health, all of those excuses, explanations, whatever you want to call them.
He should have his horses.
It should be possible for Mahomes to put up the kind of numbers, or at least similar numbers, to Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all those guys that are putting up big offensive numbers right now. So if that doesn't happen, yeah, I mean, eventually you've got to sit back and say, those guys are on the same level as him. To me, though, it's just one. To me, it's just Josh Allen.
And I agree with that. I think like Lamar, who, multiple time MVP and multiple years over, had a strong case to win MVPs in other seasons.
Like last.
It's with Lamar, it's strictly like the postseason success. Like he just has to win a Super Bowl for him to get in there. But I think Josh Allen is the other guy. And I think that I do think that there's different levels of the Mahomes game and the Allen game, whereas like Mahomes, I think, is just a much more cerebral quarterback now. Obviously, his arm can go toe-to-toe with the best arms in the NFL. And then there's Josh Allen's arm, which I think is like even like a notch above just everyone in the league. Like his arm is absolutely insane. But physically, there's things Josh Allen can do that just no other quarterback in the league can do right now. Like his running ability, his ability to break tackles and not go down and stuff like that. Like, I just don't think there's anybody else in the league that can do those things. And then you factor in how much better his overall quarterback play has gotten. Yeah, you're just looking at this physical freak of a quarterback in his prime, but he still has limitations, like in the way that he mentally approaches a game. Like when plays break down, he's just like, I'm just going to chuck it as far as I can down the football field and try to create a big play. Whereas like you see Mahomes play within the offense a lot more and dissect the defense and do all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I think you can certainly make the case for it. And it's certainly been trending that way the past couple of years. But like, until that dude definitively beats Patrick Mahomes in a meaningful playoff game and like gets over that hump and does it in like a significant way, I'm just not going to say that he is better than Patrick Mahomes until he actually like dethrones Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the postseason when it matters.
I think the tough part with that for me is that he has arguably outplayed Mahomes in some of those playoff games at this point. Like Josh Allen was not the reason they didn't win that game last year. Their defense is the reason they didn't win that game. So that guy is so damn good, and he is the reason why I am scared as hell of the Buffalo Bills. So I've been with you on that previously, Serda. Last year's game, like he
was good, but I thought Mahomes was really good in last year's game. Like I think Mahomes actually outplayed him in last year's game. I think some of the other games they've been right there. For me, it's just like, I mean, we just at some point, man, like we got to be honest. I mean, Pat's been turning the ball over at a rate that the amount of touchdowns he's getting is not matching with it. Right, like he threw 12 interceptions a few years ago, his last MVP year, but he threw 41 touchdown passes. He threw 14 interceptions 2 years ago to 27 touchdown passes. He was 26 to 11. Now he really brought it down. Right, he got out of the gate with 8 quick. Right, remember it was multiple weeks. He was sitting there with far more interceptions.
Yeah, the Chiefs overall had that crazy streak of not turning it over. Remember, like that was that was really their identity was we play keep away. You're not going to get extra possessions. Yeah. You're going to give us extra possessions, and ultimately that's why you're going to lose.
Yeah, he's at a point, man, where he's under 4,000 yards passing last year, and he only missed a game, right? And that game was the last game of the year. So I just think like. His numbers and things, like he's got to start. We're just honest with ourselves. He hadn't been looking like the best player in like the game we watch. The crazy part here is we're not talking. We are we've made the case for a lot of guys. We ain't made the case for the guy who had the best numbers, arguably, of anybody last year, and the only one who has had any success against him. We're not really like, you had him in a different category with Lamar, and you kind of, but that it's interesting because we talk about this all the way up until last year. Joe damn sure scared the hell out of you, BK, and he scares me. But it is crazy what has happened in the last 2 years. He's just got to start to look, and I think there were excuses. Check that, as Ryan Lefevre would say. I think there were explanations to why it looked the way it did, but some of those turnovers, that's the part that's really jumped out to me. Some of the turnovers were not just, at least visually, not just caused by like, oh, he had some injuries.
And I think Burrow is getting hit with some of the same things that Mahomes did early on in his career, where I don't know how fair this is, but he has such excellent receivers on the outside that I think some people are like, yeah, he's amazing. He's also propped up a little bit by the future Hall of Famers that he's throwing the ball to. And on the Mahomes side of things, I think some of what you're talking about, Ron, is he doesn't have the explosive element to his game the way that he used to. Like, if he can get those connections with Xavier Worthy this year on the deep ball, I think it changes a lot about what we're talking about here. It'll increase those touchdowns that you're talking about. It'll increase the yards per attempt. Like, so much of this is just, he has really struggled to maintain that level of the deep ball over the last 3 or 4 seasons. And once that starts to click again, if and when, I think we're going to start talking about him the same way that we were early in his career.
And that's the part. It's not just always the other elements. It's like he's playing a role in that. We saw his best deep pass of the fucking season. Excuse my French. When the Eagles were 40-6 or something. I mean, deep ball for a touchdown to Worthy. I had seen that on the money all year. So yeah, that part's got to pick up, because it's not like some of those aren't there for him.
Yeah,
he missed a lot.
But I do think some of that too is like, I think some of that is just like Mahomes being in his head, and like it's a product of like the circumstances of the last 2 years, like not just last year. Like, it was the struggles of the wide receiver room the year before, and the lack of playmakers, and then the offensive line, and then last year it's the offensive line, and like you have just straight up no blocking from the left side, got in his head early, and he was just rattled in a lot of ways the rest of the year, in a way that like made him press and had those uncharacteristic turnovers because he was getting frustrated and just being like, screw it, I'm just gonna try to make something happen, and then he throws a bad pick or whatever. Like, I do think that this year with the weapons, hopefully the offensive line is in fact better, and I think it'll look just easier this year than it has in the past 2 seasons.
Ron, it's different because, I mean, most importantly, he's not the person that this guy is, but some of this does remind me a little bit of the way that Rodgers' career kind of went, where early on, man, everything was just so explosive, so exciting. It was just this different style of football than you had really seen from most quarterbacks across the league. And then as you went along, it just became about efficiency. And he consistently had the high completion percentage. The yards per attempt started to drop a little bit. And things just changed. Like, as he got into his 30, he played the game very differently. He still had some of those Rodgers moments in him, but it was just a different style than it was for most of his career. So I think this year is going to be really telling for Mahomes on which direction does he go. Rodgers was still amazing. He won MVPs into his mid to late 30s playing that style. But you can go a couple of different directions. You can get back to that explosive version of yourself, or maybe this is just who Mahomes is going to be, and this is the version that we'll see for the next 7 years of his career. We'll see.
I think you want to see what he looks like when he actually has the explosive elements together, and they get to do what they want to do. All right, we are out.